Okay, well, it's so good to be here with you today, and we have
Laura Ellen.
Hi, I'm Sara Fujimura.
And I'm Dianne White, and we are going to be talking today about PAL membership, and all of us have been longtime members of SCBWI, and we thought we'd just take a few minutes to talk about our experiences, why we joined SCBWI in the first place, why we continue to be members of SCBWI, even though we have all published books and are in a different place in our career than we were when we first joined. So does anyone want to begin by telling us maybe how long you've been a member of SCBWI? And Laura, you could go first, and just a little bit about some of the benefits.
I first became a member in 2000. It was when I was living in Alaska, and I'm originally from Alaska, but I had moved back up there. My husband at the time was military, and I decided I'd always been writing, but I decided to actually take it to that next level. And I have been a member ever since. When I moved to Michigan, where I lived for about 10 years, that became my instant family. I immediately found a critique group. I didn't know anyone in Michigan, so I had networking opportunities. That was how I really became published. That was, I say too much, but this is not good. And so for me, being a member of SCBWI, it's for the networking and the opportunities. Right before my first book was coming out in October of 2012, I found out that we were moving to Arizona in August. So that was detrimental to me. I felt like I had planned all these things in Michigan for my launch, and I had all these networks and everything. And in fact, the week that we moved from Michigan to Phoenix, my family went to our new house in Phoenix, and I hopped the plane to LA. I went to the LA conference because I had planned on going to the SCBWI conference for the opportunity to sell my books. Because my book was coming out soon, I wanted to promote it. And I ran into my RAs there that were from Michigan, and I was waiting for my room, and I was exhausted, having just sold our house, etc. And Carrie and Leslie saw me, and they were like, "Take my room key, go sleep in our hotel room." And and so I got like 3 hours of sleep that I needed. So for me, immediately when I got to Arizona, I called up authors that I had met at different SCBWI events, people that weren't even from Arizona, but I had met in different places, said, "Hey, I know such and such in Arizona." That's how I got hooked up with Changing Hands and met Randy Stewart, how I immediately got into things like Yallapalooza and stuff like that, which I would not have known even where to start if I had just moved to Arizona and did not have SCBWI as a community. So,
wow. First of all, I'm impressed because I didn't know all that story about you. From Alaska to Michigan.
Yeah.
And also, you just make such great points about how that community of SCBWI follows you no matter where you go. Because I had a similar experience coming from Southern California for many years as a member there. I feel like I grew up as a writer because of SCBWI. And then when I moved to Arizona in 2012, the first thing that I wanted to do was connect with SCBWI. So it's pretty incredible. It's been good. It's been good to all of us, I know.
Yeah.
So Sara, how about you?
So I started off in New Jersey when I joined SCBWI 20 years ago, and I was one of the first people when they did the New York conference, and it sold out, and we ended up having to sit in the coat closet because they had oversold, but we all got a free t-shirt for people who had to sit in the coat closet. So I started there, but I didn't lean into SCBWI until we got to Arizona. We moved out here, and I wanted to up my game a little bit and learn more about what we're doing. So sort of like Laura, that idea of building your own family and your community, especially if you're moving a lot. Something that's a little bit different from Laura, and some people don't know, is once you become part of the national organization, you can go to SCBWI events all around the world. So my husband's Japanese, and we go to Japan every summer. And I have friends in the SCBWI Japan chapter. And we went and I did a conference with them, a writing retreat at Gotemba, which was just wonderful. And I've made such good friends with them, and we've helped each other with our writings, especially people who are writing global YA stories or mixed families or biracial kids and things that like I do too. So I really appreciate them. I also did the SCBWI Nevada's mentorship program about 5 years ago, and Tara Lynn Childs was my mentor, and I got to go to Nevada twice, and it really upped my game, and I met people from all over the world again who came for that mentorship. And so now I can go to Australia, I can go to Holland, I can call these people like, hey, this is what I'm doing, do you want to buddy up? Or if they're coming to the Phoenix area. So it's just about making different contacts and making friends around the world. So I think that's the biggest thing. Here locally, it's the same idea what Laura was talking about, where you make connections and people who know things that you don't know. And they might like, hey, well, I'm doing this event, do you want to come along? Or they're looking for somebody who does YA, do you want to come along? So that's why I continue to do it, because people say, well, once you have a book out, you don't need SCBWI anymore. That's about finding an agent and editor, and you already have those. And that's not true. It just takes it to a different level. And I know you're going to talk a little bit more about PAL and how once you become published or you have more books out, how that affects what you do, and then how SCBWI can help you move to the next level with that.
Well, I think it kind of all starts with just the idea of connecting with other writers, other illustrators, people in your area, people in other states in the United States, and then again, around the world. We have this sense of camaraderie and community. And once all of us do have books out and we continue to be members of SCBWI because of those connections, because of the relationships that we form, but also because of the opportunity to go to conferences as members at a reduced rate, the opportunity to present at conferences, to, practice maybe on a smaller scale with your local chapter, your local community. And then we have one of our members, Michael Hale, who's the illustrator coordinator, did a workshop on publishing, self-publishing, and for our local Arizona chapter, and now has the opportunity to offer that same workshop for other chapters around the country. And in fact, this summer we'll be presenting a workshop at the national conference. So there's really just no end of opportunities. I also feel it's a way to, just sort of give back to the organization what I feel like they gave to me as a writer, as a beginning writer. I've been a member for over 20 years, and I really wouldn't think of not being a member. I just, I know Carrie, and I know all these RAs from other parts of the country, and have gone to workshops in other parts of the country as well. So it's a small world in children's books, and SCBWI is just right at the top of all of that, leading the way and keeping us informed. We get newsletters, we have, there's just a lot of benefits.
I think also, just because you get your book published and you think, okay, now I've got an agent and I'm published, you never know when you need that support. And for me, I had to face a really hard, very tough decision to leave my agent. And that was really, really hard decision for me, but for me, I didn't feel like it was working. And I reached out to a couple of authors that I knew had been with my agent and had also left, and talked to other people who had left their agents and found new agents. And I would not have been comfortable reaching out to those authors and asking these questions that I had if it wasn't for SCBWI. I knew that they would talk to me because I was a member, and that I had met them briefly at different conferences and stuff. And so that, and now I'm still looking for an agent, but I get the opportunities to meet agents and editors at the conferences, and I'm trying to choose wisely. And it's good to meet the agents and know that this person will work well with me, or this person is not a good fit. So so just because you've been you've got that book deal and you've got your agent, that doesn't mean that you aren't at some point going to need those benefits. And really, it's a support net, and you do get to have more opportunities to sell your book. If you go to national, you get to PAL members get to sell their books, different on a smaller scale at different conferences and stuff. So there's plenty of opportunities for PAL members that you wouldn't normally get.
So kind of connecting that, people often ask, well, why do you go to your local conference? It's like, why do you need to go if you already have an agent and editor? And that idea of, you don't know what's coming down the pipe. So once your contract is finished, if you need another editor, even though you're not going to use your golden ticket to send to them because they're a closed house right now, but that idea of establishing relationships with them, or knowing, hey, they really love sports YA. I have a sports YA, so you talk to your agent and say, hey, I just met so-and-so at our regional event. Keep them in mind for this one that's coming down the pipe. So again, it's just like the building of relationships and knowing who's looking for what, and not just throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks.
I think SCBWI is really all about relationships, and publishing, children's publishing is, as we said before, a very small community. Everyone knows each other. Authors, across the same genres and other genres know each other. We support each other's work, and in the way that publishing is these days, everyone, even if you are published, you do need to promote your work. You do need to have the support of the people around you who are also promoting your work and getting your name out there, pushing your books and whatnot. And so it's just, a community I would not think that I would never not want to be a part of. It's been very important to me for the last 20 plus years, and there's just a lot to offer. So do we have any final words? Or?
Oh, I do. So if you are self-published, so for a long time, self-published authors didn't get a lot of love. And the whole industry is changing, and so SCBWI is also changing and evolving. So there's things that are especially for self-pub authors, like the Spark Award, because if you're self-pub, you're not eligible for some of the golden kites and things like that. But they have the Spark Award. When they do the book stops in December, they have a special page for indie pub people, or people like me who are hybrid. So I have 2 self-published books, and then I have my next 2 books are coming out with a traditional publisher. So that idea of like, you don't, just because you're self-published, like, well, okay, SCBWI is not for me. There's different opportunities. And one of the things I really like about PAL is they talk about like the business end or the marketing end. And when you're self-publishing, you have to do even more. And just because you're traditionally published, you're still going to have to do some, but if you're self-published, you have to do even more. So one of the best workshops that I came and saw with PAL was actually with Sharon's. Actually, it was your 2 and Sharon's together. Was about like how to do a book festival, what to bring with you, and just like the nuts and bolts, not like, oh, you should do it, loosey-goosey stuff. It's like, no, make sure you have a cash box and you have like 1s and 5s, and make sure you have a square. And it was like a checklist of sorts. So very practical information depending on what you want to do. So I appreciate that, and it's still using that one.
So I think we are happy to be PAL members. We're happy to be working together, supporting one another, and we love SCBWI, and we hope that you learned a little bit about PAL and why continue to be a member of SCBWI even after you're published. Thank you.
Thank you.